Hey, what is up guys? Joseph here, and this is the number 60 through 51 of my top 100 movies of all time.
Number 60.
Go ahead and get started with my number 60, and that is Vertigo. James Stewart plays a detective who has a fear of heights, who is hired to investigate an old friend's wife that is acting strange. And he eventually develops an obsession with her. There's something that happens that changes his obsession to her, and he finds someone else. And after meeting that someone else, he begins to force that person to act and dress like and basically pretend to be his old obsession. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I think that's good enough, and you may be thinking that I already have given too much away. I haven't.
Number 59.
Like my number 85, which was The Dark Knight, my number 59 is about the same in terms of overrated, because I honestly don't feel my number 59 deserves the amount of love it gets. My number 59 is Pulp Fiction. Now, like I was talking about with The Dark Knight being Heath Ledger, really the only tremendous thing about Pulp Fiction, or Heath Ledger being the only tremendous thing about The Dark Knight. In my opinion, the only tremendous thing was Sam Jackson. I didn't really care for that Bruce Willis chapter. The Uma Thurman and John Travolta chapter, I was okay with, but it wasn't until the third chapter with Sam Jackson and John Travolta where I actually loved Pulp Fiction. Like, if that was the movie Sam Jackson and John Travolta, I would have had Pulp Fiction way higher. I know several people have Pulp Fiction as Tarantino's best movie. I'm not saying Pulp Fiction is bad. I just don't think it's as great of a movie as people say.
Number 58.
Is North by Northwest. Now, this is another movie where I didn't really know anything going in, and you probably thought I was going to say I didn't like it the first time, but no, I've only watched this movie once, and it was about a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't really know anything going in, much of anything going in, besides that iconic shot where Cary Grant is running away from the duster. I didn't know anything else going into it besides that picture. That was it, and I was surprised greatly. Cary Grant plays a victim of identity theft, and because of his identity that people believe he is pursued by spies. And while that's going on, he's also framed for murder, that he is now being pursued by cops. So the movie is basically him trying to clear his name while being pursued by spies and cops.
Number 57.
Is Toy Story. Great voiceover work from pretty much everybody. Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz, John Ratzenberger as Ham, Don Rickles, rest in peace, as Mr. Potato Head, and Wallace Shawn as Rex. The movie that I believe changed the animation style from 2D to 3D. Story of Woody becoming jealous of Buzz because he's a new toy, and they eventually get separated from the rest of the toys, and they have to work together and find their way back to Andy and the gang. Underrated villain in Sid, but Toy Story, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. If you haven't, check it out. But it probably won't hold the same effect to you if you're like around my age. I don't care if people like or hate the movies I like. Like, it's their opinion, whatever. But at least try, because if like that's my main problem with some people, where they don't like something, whether it's a movie, TV show, whatever the game, whatever, and they haven't tried it.
Number 56.
Number 56 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Instead of being a horror movie like the Terminator, the first one, it became an action movie. And I do remember I watched the Terminator when I was like 7, 8 years old, way younger than anyone should be watching the Terminator. And like, I remember looking back now, it's stupid, but the Terminator, the first one, scared me, where the Arnold Schwarzenegger cut his eye. I don't remember why. Like, I think like he got shot or something like that. He got shot and he was trying to repair himself. Anyways, Terminator 2 turned Linda Hamilton from a damsel in distress, as she was in the first one, to one of the most badass female movie characters of all time. If you haven't seen Terminator 2, definitely check it out. And I've got a freaking alfalfa going on.
Number 55
is my second favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, and that's Django Unchained. Jamie Foxx, great performance as Django, who's a slave who gets freed by Christoph Waltz, who gives another great performance. And eventually they come into contact with Leonardo DiCaprio. A great performance by Leonardo DiCaprio. Sam Jackson, some may argue more despicable than DiCaprio. I know a friend of mine who watched Django thinks that way. I honestly don't know which is more despicable. I'm pretty sure everybody can agree both of them are despicable.
Number 54.
I probably said this so many times. I don't know if people are going to agree with this one or not, but I like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade more than I like Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Last Crusade has pretty much everything that made Raiders great. Comedy, the adventure, the action, plus more. Last Crusade had Sean Connery. It had one of the greatest endings of all time. It ends in pretty much a perfect way. I still love Raiders, but I love Last Crusade more.
Number 53.
Before I get into what my 53 is, number 53 and number 52 were so close. These two, I'm still not 100% sure that's the way I want it. Who knows? In time, maybe they'll switch, because these are my two favorite comic book movies of all time. My number 53 being Logan. Logan is the greatest standalone movie in comic book movie history. By standalone, I'm not saying like one superhero. I'm talking about, when I say standalone in this sense, a movie that really has no impact on future movies. I had very, very high expectations going into it, and they exceeded my expectations. I'm really trying not to say what I want to say right now, because you know what? Screw it. Spoiler alert. I'm putting spoiler alert up. If you have not seen Logan, mute right now. I'm warning you right now. Mute. 3, 2, 1. When Wolverine and Professor X died, even though I figured it was coming, both of them dying was coming from the trailers and from pretty much everything that had been leading up to it, from Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman both saying that Logan was their last movie in the X-Men universe. I figured it was coming. And even though I figured it was coming, I wasn't prepared for how they would go. With Professor X dying breath, believing that Wolverine killed him. The villains of the movie, okay, let me start over. The villains of the movie created a clone of Wolverine. X-24, I believe, was the code name. And X-24, that clone of Wolverine, kills Professor X, where it's really pitch dark and you can't really see the face itself, but you can see the hair, and it's Wolverine's hair. And I just made myself an alfalfa. You can tell by the hair that it looks like Wolverine. Hey, I thought it was Wolverine at first, but once he stabbed him, I was like, what is going on? And then when it was revealed that it was a clone, once you saw his face, you could tell it wasn't Logan. And later on in the movie, Logan dies while protecting his daughter, X-23, and the rest of the kids. And the X-23, I think the girl's name who played X-23 is like Daphne something. I can't think of her last name. She was great as X-23. Daphne Keane is the girl's name who played X-23. Daphne Keane. Take that spoiler down. Hugh Jackman is, and will always be Wolverine. I don't see anyone even becoming close. It's tough to see him leave the role, but it's like he doesn't want to do this forever, and I get it, but it's his choice.
Number 52.
Because of Logan being new, and maybe even though I've seen it like 3 times, and by that time, if it would have been able to fade, it would have. But just in case it does decrease over time, my number 52 is Batman Begins. Like I said earlier with Friday's video, or was it Saturday's video? When I was talking about The Dark Knight, I preferred Katie Holmes' Rachel over Maggie's. Christian Bale, Gary Oldman, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman were better in Batman Begins than they were in The Dark Knight. There was an underrated villain that I'm not gonna pretend that Ra's al Ghul was better than the Joker. Don't get me wrong. I am not gonna say that, because if I say that, I am gonna feel stupid, and I know there's gonna be a whole lot of dislikes. Now this I will say, because in my opinion, he's a better villain than Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, and a better villain than Talia al Ghul. Bane went from being a great villain to a lackey. What's the difference between that Bane and the Bane in Batman and Robin? Both of them were muscle. Both of them were just a lackey. There's no real difference other than the movie they're in. Needless to say, I like Batman Begins more than I do Dark Knight. Maybe I'm alone with that one. I don't know. And I'm not one to... I used to, but I've gotten to the point where I don't care anymore, because I used to go with the popular opinion. And if you guys hate me for my opinion, okay, cool, whatever. It's your life. You do what you want, but you feel how you want, whatever. But I'm not gonna do that crap anymore, where I pretend to feel one way, and I'm not gonna do that crap anymore.
Number 51
is Stand By Me. I said that the most relatable coming-of-age movie that I've ever seen was Boyhood. But my favorite coming-of-age movie is Stand By Me. If you haven't seen Stand By Me, I highly recommend it. The story is 4 friends, played by Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and I'll look it up while I'm talking. I think it's Jerry O'Connell. I think that's the other actor's name. But the 4 friends are going off on an adventure to find a dead body that they want to find to become famous. And along the way, they tell stories, and you learn backstory on each of the characters and that kind of thing. Yeah, Jerry O'Connell was the other actor's name. So Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell. But it's a good, I highly recommend Stand By Me if you haven't already seen it.
Alright, that's it for this video. Be sure to hit that like button, it really helps me out, you guys. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow for the numbers 50 through 41 of the top 100 movies of all time. As always, like me on Facebook at JimAsh97, follow me on Twitter at JimAsh97, links in the description below. Mash out.